Brad Graham in his full throttle Dodge leads the A&W 300 here in round number 3 of the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series on TSN. Green flag waves once again.
As the green flies, the 18 Interstate Batteries Monte Carlo of Ken Newton is the tow truck in a box free pass.
And Andrew Ranger around the outside of Brad Graham. He'll take over the lead for the first time tonight. Looks like Don Thompson Jr. going to try and use that high line as well. He rubs DJ Kennington, but Ranger in the Walmart tied Ford Fusion up into top spot.
Well, we've been talking about the Dodge horsepower this whole show. And Kerry Mix in a Ford, and now young Andrew Ranger in a Ford at the front.
Still is Brad Graham holding out second. Look at the battle for third, though, between DJ Kennington and Don Thompson Jr. They're side by side through 1 and 2.
Down the backstretch, door handle to door handle.
And you see the number 3, or excuse me, that's the number 12 of John Gaunt. No nose left on the front of that car as that crew has replaced the radiator to get him back out. Try and make some laps, try and get all important points for the Castro points chase.
There's Derek Lynch to the outside. That's the battle for 7th. Him and Tagliani. And the 77 is going to win that battle.
You know what? Tagliani has done a wonderful job. Look at that car. Barely a mark on it. He did go a lap down early on. Got the tow truck in a box free pass. He's been hanging around on the lead lap. And you know what? He's doing a lot of learning, but a lot of racing here today as well.
Oh, for sure. As we ride on board with Mark Dilley. He's trying to get to the inside. Oh, little bumper tag there. He moves Tagliani up the racetrack and scoots away.
And there he is learning the hard way of the title that is Barrie Speedway as Don Thompson Jr. goes around the 19 of Brad Graham for 3rd spot. So Thompson continues his quest up towards the front of the field.
And you see the 17 of DJ Kennington. He sets it down late into the corner, trying to steal that spot as well. Coming up off the corner. Oh, a little bump on the run there, and away he goes.
And Peter Gibbons, you see the nose of that Canadian Tire Monte Carlo tucked in behind the 10 of Dougie Brown. He was at 1.3 laps down. He's now back on the lead lap.
Well, not even talking about the 3 laps. Remember, we go back to the start of the race early on. He was like airborne, almost upside down over top of Simone's car.
And now he's worked his way back up towards the front of the field. You know what? He's a car that we've been watching for a little while. He's burning up this track. Now in behind Brad Graham as Doug Brown got pushed up, lost a couple spots. There is your leader, the 27 of Andrew Ranger.
Down into turn 3, very tricky and treacherous corner. You got to diamond it off and get off before clean. And Thompson's stretching away from DJ. He's heading for the front.
Ranger opening up a 3-car length lead on the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. Down the back chute they go. There's the gap back to 3rd spot. The Castrol Syntec Dodge of DJ Kennington.
Well, talking about Kennington, his next race of the Nationwide Series will be at the big track at Daytona Speedway.
That must be something, to go from a track like Barrie Speedway all the way to a big 2.5-mile track like Daytona.
Well, I like to talk about it. You know, the Carl Edwardses, they go on private jets and everything. DJ drives a van from Kentucky back to the Canadian Tire Series.
That's old school racing right there.
You got that right. Good for DJ.
Andrew Ranger losing a little bit of his lead, and here comes Gibbons up into 3rd underneath the 17 of Kennington. So Gibbons continues his charge as well as Don Thompson Jr. has closed the gap on the leader. There he is now within striking distance of Andrew Ranger.
Down the backstretch, you can see a little bit of damage in that left rear corner of Don Thompson Jr., but it's not affecting the performance at all as he's right to the rear bumper of Ranger.
You see some yellow paint on the back bumper of the 27 of Andrew Ranger. That's from much earlier in the event. The 77 Allied still building some enter of Derek Lynch underneath the 19 of Brad Graham up into 5th spot. Dilly gives him a rub as well as Dilly will steal away a spot.
Well, Dilly doing a great job as well. Remember, he just served a penalty down pit road after that bad restart. So he's on a mission to get back to the front.
In 6th spot now, he did not lose a lap after serving that drive-through penalty, but he has yet to make his pit stop, so Mark Dilly still on the tires he started the event with. We ride on board with Don Thompson.
He's not twisting that Chevrolet too high. I'd probably say about 75, 7600 RPM. You'd expect a little more, but Donnie's learned that you don't need a lot of RPM to get them Chevrolets up off the corner.
And the thing is about Barrie Speedway, you don't really need a lot of power too. You'll just spin the tires here. As Kerry Mix takes a trip through the grass for 1 and 2. And now Thompson to the inside of Andrew Ranger.
Oh, into the corner of Ranger. But
Clear out to the 4. Clear.
Ranger got a little shook up when they talked about the 0-2 being off the racetrack. That opened the door for Thompson, and then he tried to close it, and it didn't happen.
So Andrew Ranger with a whale of a save up in quarter four, but trouble on the one car of Peter Gibbons. Some smoke coming on the back end of that Canadian Tire Monte Carlo, and it looks like he's going to take it down pit lane. Peter Gibbons at a third spot down pit lane, and Todd standing by.
Canadian Tire crew talking it over in terms of a course of action, guys, for Pete Gibbons getting the black flag. Smoke coming from the rear gear. They're trying to figure out a course of action as soon as he hits pit road. He's here now.
A bad day gets worse for Peter Gibbons. 1.3 laps down, got back on the lead lap, up into third as we got a battle for position here. Fifth spot up for grabs, and Scott Steckley's going to take it, but Gibbons up into third at one point, now sits in the pits.
But there's the race right there. Young Scott Steckley's just on a mission to catch that man, Don Thompson Jr.
You saw a quick glimpse of Joey McComb in the 56. He's back out trying to pick up some laps as well. He was out earlier with some electrical issues. The crew's thrashed. Get that car back working, and he's out turning some laps.
Don Thompson just continues to route through this field, putting good cars a lap down.
There's DJ Kennington with Derek Lynch in behind. You see the 84 J.R. Fitzpatrick. We ride on board with him now. And J.R. is a lap down after having some radio issues during the last caution. And trouble up in two. It's the 10 of Doug Brown.
Dougie Brown spinning all by himself, and he's sitting in the entrance to pit road.
So caution flag flies once again for the 9th time here in the A&W 300. Doug Brown with not too much damage to the back end of that Haldex Dodge, but they're all chasing the leader, Don Thompson Jr.